when we talk about the unrealistic demand, there's actually both sides of the story. On one hand, and there's a gap actually. On one hand, the fresh graduates tend to ask for a little bit more, and I personally also think that in the private sector, the company also are not up to benchmark in that sense. If we look at the average salary of the private sectors, it is around 2,200. Okay? It's slightly higher for the technical domain. Things like IT, engineering will pay an average of 2004 to 2005. On more general domains, specializations, it will be around 21 to 22. So personally, I do think that that is quite low scale as well. So I think that, but on the other hand, right, we are not talking about fresh graduates asking for 2.5 or 2.6. They are asking for over 3,000. It's quite high. So you can see the expectation gap from one end to the other end is actually big. So we would want to, from our perspective, we see this problem from the ground perspective, and we would like to see how we can close the gap together. For example, from the last survey that we ran recently, there is still that gap, but I would say that it has improved. Now, a couple of years ago, about 3 years ago, we ran the survey on the fresh grad demand of the salary, what they would like. So over 60% mentioned that they would like a salary of 3,500. That's actually very high, like you can see the gap, right? But this year when we ran it, we feel that whatever education, it has kind of taken effect because we see a lower percentage that is actually demanding a higher salary. So from the fresh graduates perspective, number of graduates, percentage of graduates, 34% that actually look at 3,000 or higher. So the gap has come down, which is good actually. But we also see that from the employer side, it's still hovering within that range. In fact, of the 3,000, 34% that fresh graduates that wants their 3,000 salary, only 2% of the employers are willing to pay for that. 2%. So there is still that gap. So that's why we are having, the forum today also to discuss how we can kind of pull the gap together as well, because I think that it is really, really very still a problem at the moment of this expectation gap. It's not one party or the other. I think both parties have to play their role in order, and the institution of higher learning as well,